What's going on, everybody? Pearson Podcast episode 5. And today we are going to be talking about I have no idea. This is for the first podcast, or for the first time. I have literally, as I'm setting up the camera, I'm thinking of things to talk about because as I was going to sleep last night, I had some things in my mind, but, usually I write them down and to not forget them. But this time, and you know what I find? I write them down and I don't need to look at the notes to remember them. I just remember them. But I think the act of just writing it down implants that into my brain, because I thought last night, I'm like, okay, I remember that, but I'm not going to write it down because I usually remember it anyway. That's a note for the next time I think of something in the middle of the night. And but today is going to be the first time that I literally have no idea what I'm talking about. Probably going to mention some things I've already talked about before. Probably going to talk about some rambles. But nonetheless, it's going to be genuine. So I hope everything is going well in your guys' lives. And if it isn't, then try and take a look at what you've got. And, I saw this quote this morning. If you have, and I'm going to butcher it, of course, but if you have nothing to lose, you have everything to gain. You dig what I'm splitting? So, even if you're homeless, which I'm assuming no one watching is, but even if you're homeless and have nothing but the clothes on your back, and even if you're out there naked, anything you get is all profit. No, I mean, I'm not qualified to speak on this, but, this is a Pearson podcast where I blabble and ramble and talk about things that I may not be qualified to talk about. But nonetheless, I speak the truth, or I speak my truth. So, one thing, as you all know, I make, I be chefing, and I make dinners for my fam about, I don't know, 4 or 5 times a week. And so it's been nice. We recently have been scheduling it out, like Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday through Sunday, schedule each day, and that's been helpful. And the reason I bring it up is because, I don't know why I brought it up, but shout out to anybody listening past this point, man. Because I'm thinking about this in the third person. I'm like, I have said basically nothing of substance, and I'm probably like, 3-4 minutes in, could be even more. And I don't know, it's just funny. But yeah, shout out to you guys who are watching this. We appreciate you. See, completely forgot what I was saying, but this is the Pearson Podcast, where that happens. Dinners. Saturday, it's Monday today. Sorry, I missed my 6 a.m. I'm actually realizing that the 6 a.m. on Monday doesn't work that well because my parents are home on Saturday and Sunday, and, I'd rather be hanging with them or not. Like, sometimes it's better just doing the podcast when no one's home and things like that. But no excuses. I'm gonna stay. I mean, I said every Monday. I didn't say every Monday at 6 a.m., but I am going to still try to do for 6 a.m. So on Saturday, so 2 days ago, I made a prime rib in the Traeger, and I mean, my lord. So I guess I'll go through the process of how I prepared it. So I was watching the tutorial on how to barbecue right. He's great. Like, he knows his stuff. But so yeah, in his video he said you can have the butchers, because the prime rib basically is the same thing as a ribeye, you know, the steak. So if you have a prime rib and you slice the prime rib into slabs, you got a bunch of ribeyes. I'm almost positive that's how it works. Now it's a big old slab of meat, and his was like 20 pounds. He said like 14 to 17 pounds or something. It's crazy. So it was like a big old like slab. But he said you can have the butchers because it has the ribs on the bottom, you know, to make ribs, or part of the rib eye, or prime rib. Now, he said you can have the butchers remove the ribs to make some au jus. I'm like, okay, that'd be great, but, you know, I don't want to risk cutting the ribs and taking off a little bit too much meat. But I opened it, and apparently they separated the ribs out already. You just pull them right off, and then made some au jus, and I'll go into that in a second. But, so yeah, you sprinkle a little bit of olive oil, and my mind just hops around so much, but this is why I'm doing it, ladies and gentlemen, to get better. So the reason why I brought up how to barbecue right is because I'm following his recipe. Now this is his recipe, but sprinkle a little bit of olive oil over the whole rib, and just salt and pepper, ladies and gentlemen. When you're working with, I mean, I don't know if it's red meat in general, but steaks and burgers too. But burgers, you have a little bit more leeway. But steaks, salt and peppers, ladies and gentlemen. Salt and pepper, not peppers. Salt and pepper. That's all you need. You want the meat to shine bright. You know what I mean? You do not want to put a whole lot of Johnnies or whatever on there, and you're just tasting, you know, whatever concoction they made. If you've got a really nice slab of meat, you want to taste that meat. Pause. But this is a train wreck. But we're gonna keep it going, ladies and gentlemen. Like I said in the beginning, I'm completely prepared for the first 500 episodes to be garbage. This is only the 15th, so I should feel pretty good about this train wreck. And let's be honest, it's not that much of a wreck. It's more of just like a boat wreck or something. And like two canoes, not like, you know, yachts or 24 footers or whatever. Just a couple of canoes that wreck together is what this podcast is. And then salt and pepper and olive oil, baby, and then you put it in at 275 for, I believe, my slab was a little bit smaller than his. My slab was probably about 7 pounds, something like that. And he said it took his about 2.5 hours. Took mine about the same, but he wasn't using a Traeger. He was using a actual like a wood barbecue where he like had to put the logs in. So his, you know, temperature probably fluctuated a little bit more, and probably had some times where it was a lot hotter, I'm assuming. Because, it's impossible to tell the wood what to do. The wood is going to do what the wood does. It's going to burn. So yeah, you put it in for 2.5 hours, 275. Literally don't do anything. You just keep it in 275, and I had a probe. Traegers come with this external probe where you put it right in the middle. I was keeping an eye on the internal temperature, pulled it out at 125 degrees, and let it rest for half an hour. And whoa. For one, let your meat rest, ladies and gentlemen. It'll soak in all that juice. And if you put the aluminum foil over it, like an aluminum foil tent, it won't lose the heat as opposed to if you just leave it out. Obviously, if you leave it out, it's going to cool down a little bit, but you still will get the same result. But letting it rest and giving it that time to soak back up the juice, I mean, it's essential. Like, I sliced it down the entire way down, and there was minuscule juice. Minuscule. And you better believe if I sliced that right out, it would bleed all over the place. Bleed is just a, metaphor. It's actually just juices, and some of it's blood, I'm assuming. But my lord, let your meat rest, ladies and gentlemen. So, yeah, I mean, it was delicious. Delicious, delicious, delicious. I love cooking for people. I love cooking for myself because, well, when you cook yourself, you know exactly what's in that bad boy. Exactly what's in it. You know exactly what was put into it, the love, the seasoning, everything, the time, the pellets, what type of pellet, everything. And I mean, it makes it life-changing. I mean, it really is, because I've worked at a restaurant, ladies and gentlemen. I've worked at the best restaurant in my town, probably in my county. Definitely in my county, honestly. I do it the same way they would do it, or they could do it if they had the time. You know what I mean? So here's the thing. If you go to a restaurant, get a prime rib, for instance, you're not going to be waiting there for 2.5 hours while the thing slow cooks. They're going to give you some prime rib that they, cooked early that day, or if it's a smaller restaurant from a few days ago, and we'll just slice little chunks, and then we'll heat it up for you. And this goes for everything you make. Cast iron pizzas, steak, prime rib, chicken nuggets, chicken strips, whole chickens. Anything you want to keep cool. Shout out to Tommy Boy. No, that's a Tommy Boy lyric. This is train wreck. Oh my god. That was a Tommy Boy lyric. It was a Tommy Boy, here's the thing. If you know about Tommy Boy, you're seeing me stutter, and you're like, I already know what you're talking about, buddy. And if you don't, you're just seeing me stutter and talk like a nonsense. How about those Popeyes chicken sandwiches, though? You know what I mean? Whoa. Just to change the subject entirely. Popeyes, and to be fair, I have not tried the Chick-fil-A, but it doesn't look nearly as good. And that Popeyes chicken sandwich, I just remembered, I had a dream about the Popeyes chicken sandwich last night. Because if you know, you already know, but sometimes you'll get kind of a folded piece of chicken in there, and you kind of need to unfold it. And I had a dream of me unfolding it. Yeah. But gosh dang, those hit quite differently. I mean, the bun itself is a nice, I want to say moist, spongy. Is it brioche? I'm not sure. It's almost like a mixture of a brioche and a pretzel bun. And it's toasted, of course. You know how I feel about my toasted buns. If you don't toast your buns, leave. Or toast your buns from now on and thank me later. Because it's better in every way. Holds in the juices, gives you a nice crunch. The flavor is amazing. Warms the buns up. I mean, in every way. Even McDonald's toasts their buns. Even they're like, I mean, we gotta toast the buns. Yeah, we make McChicken for 10 cents a chicken, but we gotta toast the buns. I mean, they get it. It's simple fact. Toast your buns. You can do it on a pan, a flat top, obviously. You can even do it on the barbecue. You won't get the nice sear, but, and I use butter. Some people say, the butter will burn, blah, blah, blah. Don't leave it on until it burns. Then, I mean, you know what I mean? I've used butter every time on a flat top, on a grill, on a barbecue, on a cast iron. Anything doesn't burn, tastes delicious every single time. I mean, you can do a mixture of butter and olive oil if you want. I go butter all the way. Now, yeah, but those chicken sandwiches, they hit different. Toasted bun, beautiful, beautiful bun, and the chicken. Popeyes has always had good chicken, and it's made, now I don't know this for a fact, but I recently made some chicken tenders and strips for the fam, and the batter, how I did it, came out basically exactly like Popeye's chicken sandwiches. And I used buttermilk for that batter, so I'm assuming it's buttermilk chicken in the Popeye's chicken sandwiches. So and the thing that I didn't know is the more you batter chicken, well, for one, battering chicken is an art, ladies and gentlemen. You gotta put it in the wet or the dry, which is usually just flour and some salt, and it's basically a flour and salt. Add a little bit of cornstarch. I usually do that for crunchiness, but you don't need to. Put it in just raw chicken. Put it in the dry. There's dry and there's wet. Wet is like buttermilk, eggs, things that are wet. Dry is things that are dry, like flour. So you put it in the dry, just to get like a nice thin coat so the wet will stick. Shake it off. You gotta shake it off with every single transition. If you don't, you're slipping. You put it in the wet, or the dry. Shake it off just to get a nice fine coat. Then put it in the wet. And I don't know I can't remember exactly what the wet is. I can pull it up here in my handy dandy notebook. That was like literally a subconscious handy dandy notebook. It was like literally a subconscious thing I got from Blue's Clues just now. And I'll give you my recipe, ladies and gentlemen. 3 cups of flour, 3 teaspoons of salt, and a bit of cornstarch for the dry. For the wet, 2 eggs, 2 cups of buttermilk, 2 tablespoons of hot sauce, and 2 tablespoons of pickle juice, ladies and gentlemen. Don't skip out on the pickle juice, but the buttermilk is the thing that really gets it. So from the dry, just a little coating, you go into the wet. Make sure it gets covered fully, lift it, making minimal contact so you don't lose a lot of that wet, and shake it off because you just want the essence. You put it back into the dry, and that's when you fold and compress. Make sure it really sticks to it, the chicken. And then you pull it out, shake it out, boom. That's ready to go in 375. Actually, is it 375 oil or 325? Excuse me, 325 for about 5 to 8 minutes. But just temp it. You always want to temp chicken. You don't want medium rare chicken, ladies and gentlemen. And yeah. Oh, and the reason I brought that up is as you go, you get little bits and pieces of the buttermilk crusties, and that adds on. That's when you get those nice little flakes. That's how you get the flakes that Popeyes does, because the first they batter so much chicken that they get so much of that crust. And if you do this, you'll realize the last ones you batter are they're going to be the most crispy and crunchy, more flaky, not crispy and crunchy. They will, but they'll have more of those flakes, and in turn will be more crispy and crunchy. But yeah, I mean, the Popeye chicken, and it's simplistic. They have got some pickled cucumbers, I believe that's what it is, pickled cucumbers and some mayonnaise. And on the spicy one, some spicy sauce that is so good. I'm talking about this now, and maybe I was dreaming about it because I knew I was going to get some today, but I mean, my lord. What time is it? You know what I mean? I'm going right when it opens. I love food, ladies and gentlemen. I love good food. I love adequate food. I love some frozen burritos. You know what I mean? I can gobble those down. That's why I really need to get into working out a lot harder, because I can't live with myself not eating all this good food. You know what I mean? Let's change subjects. I recently realized that I haven't been giving you guys the length of podcast y'all deserve. And y'all deserve it. So, I recently, I guess we can talk about this a little bit. We're doing homeschooling for my little brother, and it's been great. He is, I mean, Spencer, aka Little Skizzy. He is, it's funny, I recently hung out with one of my friends. My friend Alex said my little brother's, I think he said exact words, is a trip. And that's exactly what he is. He is a trip. But an amazing trip. A good trip. Not a bad trip. I mean, the way his brain works, it goes beyond words. I mean, and that's just how he is on camera. He's a little bit more sedated sometimes in person, but sometimes he's even more. But you get a nice little on-camera Spencer when he's on the podcast. And if you guys don't know, he's got a channel called Little Skizzy, and yeah, he's gonna start uploading more on there. I'm the dedicated cameraman for him, and cameraman and editor. And man, he's got a big future on YouTube if he can really nail down being persistent. Because right now he's in a little bit of a funk. He's going through puberty. He's a unique kid as it is. So there's a transition period that he will. every kid goes through, but he's going through it a little bit more just because he's so unique. Like, he is crazy unique. And as Alex said, he's a trip. And yeah, he's great though. So yeah, this homeschooling thing. We're doing official homeschool, not like a homeschool program or homeschool school. Homeschool, where you literally tell the school district, we are homeschooling this kid, and basically the thing that is required is every year he needs to get a I forgot what it's called, like an assessment of where he is, and that's it. But obviously, so some parents would be like, yeah, we'll just do that, and you don't even need to pass the assessment. They just need to say where he is. Some parents would be like, we're just gonna free school. He doesn't need to risk not passing or whatever. We're not doing that. We're gonna teach him everything he needs to know for this amazing, beautiful, terrible, messed up world. You know what I mean? Things that you don't get taught in school, like taxes. I mean, taxes alone. Like, I didn't even know anything about taxes. Not a thing. I mean, I wasn't sure if the taxes for the grocery store was just going into the grocery store's pocket, and they're like, yeah, it's just a little bit of extra. I didn't know it went to the whole tax. I didn't know if it went to pay for the grocery store's tax. I didn't know nothing. Budgeting, jury duty, relationships, friends, and, like with a girlfriend or whatever. I mean, there's so much about life. They don't teach anything about life. The most you learn about life is in between classes, or like passing notes to your friends, or jazz like that. They don't teach jack diddly. I mean, it is sad. It is sad. I mean, all these kids going into, whatever. Let's talk about happy things. So, yeah, I have a really amazing opportunity to teach him all these great things, because I graduated high school in 2015, and it's 2021, so it's almost been 6 years. I mean, But I've learned a lot, ladies and gentlemen. I've learned a lot, and a lot has happened. And I will get into what has transpired through the 2015 till now, but I need to get more into the podcast thing. Yeah. Man, if you're still listening to this at this point, I appreciate you. I really do. But yeah, this is great. So I'm teaching Spencer about all kinds of, anything he wants to learn, anything I think he should learn. I mean, anything. And it has been so amazing so far. And I knew, it's almost like when I thought about what school should be, this is what school should be. I mean, the example I always think about is space. Say he wants to be an astronaut or something. I teach him, we will learn everything there is to be an astronaut, what is required, how many years of school, what you need to learn about in school, all that jazz. And instead of kids going through high school thinking, I want to be an astronaut, I want to be an astronaut, I want blah, 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 and then getting into school and then realizing, oh, it's going to cost $100,000 per year. Oh, I have to go to school for an additional 7 years. I don't know if these figures are even remotely correct. Oh, you have to learn about all these things. Oh, being an astronaut isn't just floating around in space. And instead of dedicating all that time to you thinking you want to do this, you have all that time to think what is actually going to go into it, and realizing maybe I don't want to do that. Let's go on to the next thing I want to do, or learn about this hobby. Oh, I can get paid to do this hobby. See where I'm going with this? Learn about what you want to learn, and in doing so, you still hit the core fundamentals of what school wants you to learn and wants to teach you. I mean, Like, I get not everybody has someone that can do this, and not everybody has the knowledge. I'll be honest, I think we're in the dang near perfect situation, me personally, and my parents, to teach him everything he needs to know so he can actually be prepared for when he goes into the real world, and be so much more prepared than if he went into traditional school. I mean, I sure as heck wish I had someone like that and didn't have to. Ladies and gentlemen, I had so much stress. So much stress. It's almost like a stress that I just from school that I just completely, when I was out, thank God I got out of my system and really realized that I was out. Because if I held on to that, oh my God, I would have gray hair right now. School just didn't work for me, man. It didn't work for me. I got a lot of great friends in school. I had a few of my first, I was about to say a few of my first girlfriends, but they're like girlfriends in different stages of actual having a girlfriend. I got some girlfriends, and learned some stuff. The graphic design was great, TV production was great, learned a lot of great things. But this stress. There were times where I wouldn't even get good grades in classes that I liked, because I wasn't about that life of checking grades online. It caused too much stress. I would, and then I'd be sick and I'd miss some assignments. No way in heck I'm going and staying after school to do those assignments, because I didn't know I was going to get a bad grade on them anyway. That's the thing about this school thing. Sorry, I'm getting into negative things. Let's talk more about Popeye's chicken sandwiches, am I right? Man, those are good. And man, talking about those are making my stomach rumble, because they know I'm gonna gobble down today. Yeah, let's call it there. I hope everybody here enjoyed this at least somewhat. And if you did, consider leaving a like. And if you're new here, you're completely welcome to watch without subscribing. But if you subscribe, you'll be notified when I upload a video, even though it'll be every Monday. Oh yeah, this is just something I'm going to mention, just kind of blow on the fire, give your brains to think about. Me and Spencer are going to be making a rap song produced by the one and only 360 Banger, aka Josiah King, and my friend Alex is going to help kind of mastering it when I put the the vocals in, just because I don't want to put too much stress on Josiah, plus Alex seems to be pretty dang good at it. Alright, thank you very much for watching. Hope you guys enjoyed. If you did, leave a like, comment anything you want, subscribe for more videos every Monday until I am incapacitated. Thank you very much. Peace.